So Blackburn Rovers end 2019 with a big hairy defeat up against Huddersfield Town. Can we look forward? So Blackburn Rovers end 2019 with a big hairy defeat up against Huddersfield Town at their own turf. Can we kick on in the brand new year with a new win? We'll talk about it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another match review, this time picking apart Blackburn Rovers' final game of this decade up against Huddersfield, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash the old subscribe button, get your bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, World Football related. We're going to all here under one roofski. That's right, boys and girls. Here comes my loon. Bring her on. Bring her, open this thing. Open her up. Unleash the hound. I think it opens. That's right, girl. Come on in. Don't go in that water. Come see it. Come here. Okay, well, anyway, folks, let's take a look at the match in a bit more detail, shall we? So let's take a look at the match in a bit more detail, shall we? So 22,859 folks were in attendance to watch this bad boy as Huddersfield came from behind to snatch all 3 points, a valuable 3 points for them in the end over Rovers, 2-1 in the end. Actually, Danny Graham taking the lead for Blackburn on the 7th minute, courtesy of a beautiful headed goal. Put that in the back bins to give us the lead. And I thought at that moment that, you know what, we're going to take all 3 points here, despite the change of formation and the change of personnel against the odds. I think heading into this, Huddersfield were probably favourites due to the fact that Bradley Dacarina will not be no longer in contention for first team action for a foreseeable future. So yeah, we took the lead 1-0, and I thought, you know what, yeah, heads up, let's go for this, boys. But unfortunately, the lead didn't last long, only about 15-20 minutes before Stankovic popped in a header of his own, a long-range free kick. I think it might have been Bakuna taking it. He rose above everybody else, put it in the back bins again, 1-1. And that's how it stood. A lot of people moaning about their style of play. It wasn't the greatest, most entertaining game for Rovers. In fact, a lot of people saying this is the worst performance of the season. I must hold my hand up a little bit. I was actually in a brunch at the time, watching the game on my phone, so I couldn't see all the glory, but I was keeping a close eye on it. And there were some instances I thought Rovers could have even snatched a second goal. But at the end of the day, we had to hold on until the first half. Into the second half, maybe a little bit of uptick by Rovers, perhaps. But it was actually Huddersfield who got the third goal, and the most decisive. It was Steve Mounie, absolute belter, 71st minute, long range effort, put in the back bins, and that was a game worthy game winning worthy goal. But unfortunately, it was for Huddersfield. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that was the last goal for it. In fact, Huddersfield could have snatched another goal. I think an effort did hit the crossbar as well. Walton pulled off a couple of saves, and we'll take a look at those saves in just a second. But anyway, take a look at some of the numbers that matter. 17 shots for Huddersfield, just the 10 for Rovers. We did dominate possession, 55.5% possession for Rovers, 44.5% possession for Huddersfield, which is good away from home for Rovers, but unfortunately we didn't turn that possession into anything of any decent value. We did have better successes with our passing as well. 73% of all passes reaching the intended target, 66% for Huddersfield on there. Dribbles, they were more successful with dribbles on the ground. We did boss the aerial duels as well, winning 30 of those compared to their 17. As for tackles, more tackles by Huddersfield as well. They also had more corners, which they caused us a whole bunch of problems. But before we get into more numbers and stuff like that, let's take a look at the starting 11s. Grababa, the loanee, is he from Liverpool, on the books at Huddersfield for the season. He was in goal. Then we have Brown, Stankovic, the goal scorer, Schindler, and ex-Rovers and ex-Premier League winner Danny Simpson at right back. Bakuna, Chabalar, another loanee in defensive midfield. O'Brien obviously causing problems and creativity and all that kind of abundance. Obviously Carlin Grant amongst the starting 11, but not amongst the goals today. Kachunga and of course Mooney with that belter. As for Rovers, take a look at their starting 11. We have Walton between sticks, Downing, Adarabioyo was back, Lenihan, Bennett across the back four, Rothwell, Travis, Johnson and Buckley made up a four-man midfield with Gallagher and Graham up top. Obviously Graham getting the goal, which was good to see, and I thought, you know what, maybe just maybe we'll have a creative bounce among us, and then we might be able to hold on for the 3 points, because this would have been a massive 3 points, an unexpected 3 points, to be honest with you. I think in my prediction show, I think I expected a 2-2 draw, just one goal shy of that. Yeah, we were just devoured of quality, and it just showed. Even in the when he's not there, it's so obvious that we need Bradley Dack back big time. There was so many chances and loose balls in the middle third that there was nobody making up the ground, nobody making up the runs and taking up the space Bradley Dack does. Even when we did bring on the star man, Harry Chapman, for his first start since his permanent move from Middlesbrough, even his creative wizardry caused absolutely nothing of anything of positive for Rovers on this. Let's take a look at the match ratings for Rovers now, starting with Walton between his sticks. I'm going to give him a big fat 5, Downing a 5, Tonton Adebayo a 6. It was good to have him back, but ultimately we didn't, despite having him back on the field, it amounted to absolutely nothing. 5 for Lenihan, 5 for Bennett, Rothwell with a 4, Travis with a 6, Johnson with a 5, and Buckley with a 5. Gallagher with a 5, and Graham gets a 7 purely for the goal. I'm just going to give it for that, and he also was substituted before the winning goal, I think. Anyway, let's take a look at some other numbers that matter. Like we did talk about the 10 shots. We actually had 3 on target, 4 off target. 3 were blocked. As for Huddersfield, 17 shots, 7 off target, 4 on target, and 6 blocked. So you've got to give Rovers defensive personnel some credit, even though we were on the losing side. 406 passes for Rovers, 317 for Huddersfield, 592 touches for Rovers, 494 for the hosts. What other stuff is there? We lost possession 27 times. We attempted 26 tackles as well. But ultimately it just wasn't good enough. And as you can see up there, the blue squiggles and the lines, that's where our shots took place. The majority of them within the 18-yard box, one a long ranger, which was well wide. As for Huddersfield, as you see, they didn't have as much possession, but they created much more shooting opportunities, and they did pepper our goal more often than we did theirs. And obviously you can see down the bottom there where the goals where the balls went in the back of the net. So Huddersfield, 1 down the middle and 1 top right, Rovers bottom left. If you're a heat map man just like me, take a look at the action zones for you. As you can see, Rovers more frequent down the right hand side, and usually with Nyambe down the right side causing all kinds of problems. It would have been a positive statistic or positive analysis, because he does give 100%. Today we had Bennett on the right hand side, and he didn't offer that energy or I don't know, hazardry that Nyambe possesses. But as for Huddersfield, they did seem to prefer to play outside of the wings or out wide, and leaving that middle space completely barren. I hardly ever went down there. So that's the heat maps. But ultimately, Rovers failed today, and they failed for the past 3 games now of really trying to take a hold of their prime opportunity, which is they were considered a sort of outside playoff team, but I think that's clearly is slowly fading away as these games come by. They're not completely unachievable or unwinnable games, but they're games that we should have really taken more points from. We've actually taken 2 from a possible 9. So despite the current form book or where we can rise in the table, it's probably false numbers, false statistics, because picking up 1 point against Birmingham at home, 1 point against Wigan at home, and losing to a struggling or not really top gear Huddersfield side, it just shows that the absence of Dack is going to basically cause us to slowly but surely drift down that table, and more likely to end up in the middle third than actually the top third. So anyway,
I heard a little bit what I had to say. What about the gaffer? What did he say shortly after the final whistle as Blackburn Rovers lost to Huddersfield Town?
Well, I think for 20 minutes we controlled the game. We scored a goal, could have scored another goal, but I think they changed their formation, went more direct, played 2 strikers, played back to front, made it a scrappier game. They're a big, strong, physical team. We knew that before we came here. They've got some powerful players, but they got the crowd wrapped up. We're really disappointed with the first goal, to be honest, and because with a team with Graham, Johnson, Gallagher, Lenihan, Adebayo, we shouldn't be losing a goal like that. And so a frustrating day for us, really. One that the game became very scrappy, lack of quality. They got the crowd wrapped up in the match, and ultimately we, even though the boy stuck it in the top corner, you have to give him credit for that. We left frustrated and disappointed in a game where we never really got our fluency after the first 20 minutes. Yeah, really poor goals. But, it's difficult for me to sit in there and overly critical of them. That was, was it the first defeat in 9 games? So just feel with the aspiration we've got, we should be coming here and trying to check all 3 points, and that was the ambition. And as I say, once they turned it into the type of game it became, it almost becomes a 50-50 game. But and one we came out on the wrong end of it. No, I think that's a bit harsh. 3 games. I think the first 2 games we were just struggled to score goals really against teams who came set up to make life difficult for us. Wigan is a local derby. Wigan is a team that knows all about us. They come to watch just about every one of our games, and we've been on a similar journey to them. It was always going to be a tight game against Wigan, in my opinion. Birmingham manager sat in my office and said they came just not to get beat, and that's how they set up, and they made it really hard for us to score goals and to get through them. Today, for 20 minutes, I think we showed that we can move teams around and create problems, and then Huddersfield made it a scrappy game as well by playing more direct and playing less football, and that's all right, because you're allowed to do that, because we've done it ourselves in the past. When we haven't had results, we've had to fight for results and make the game scrappy and against certain teams, and we've managed to get results doing that as well. So credit to them, but we just left a bit frustrated. Yeah, otherwise I'm not sure who was playing centre half, to be honest. It's obviously Nyambi's a huge frustration as well, I'd have to say. So Corey Evans is a frustration. Obviously we know about Bradley. Listen, we didn't deal with a wide free kick, which we should have done with the players I just mentioned all in the team. We were pretty physically strong today, and it was okay coming here because I think these are a physically strong team as well. So, but we left frustrated with the day. We didn't really produce any controlled football second half, and it was a disappointing day for us with a disappointing result. I don't know at this moment, to be honest. I think they're generally fatigue injuries. I think Williams lasted 2 minutes in training yesterday. We had tried him, he walked off, so I'm not sure he's going to be ready. I think Evans, will try him on the grass tomorrow and wait and see. Nyambi, I don't think is going to make it. Obviously Dak's not going to make it. Holtby, yeah. Holtby's again a fatigue injury. He's a kid who's come from a different country, and he's finding the intensity of these games really tough, and so he's just a muscle injury, and we'll wait and see whether he's ready.
Now you've heard a little bit what the gaffers had to say. You've heard a little bit what I've had to say. What about the fans? What did they say on social media?
So Chris Martin said this: okay, I don't think this loss takes us out of the playoff race. This league is batshit crazy, and anything can happen and will happen, but 2 points from 3 winnable games is a very poor return. If we've got any hopes of progression, these are the games you have to win. Meanwhile, Jem Bellamy said this: 2 hours of your life you're never going to get back, kids. We go back to eating and not being overly sure what day of the week it is now. Yes. Meanwhile, MIC Rovers said this: what did people expect without Dak and Holtby available? I, for one, expected something like what we saw today. Let's hope tomorrow can provide a much-needed creative spark, or let's hope someone can provide a much-needed creative spark. Also, poor passing in our own half ruined us today. On to New Year. Meanwhile, the American Rover was very vocal after this. Heads in shame. My goodness, our worst performance of the season. Question mark. Certainly up there. I can't remember being so frustrated with Rover's performance. Absolutely fuming. There's a lot of the season left to play, but given how tight the championship is, it may not be too dramatic to say that this run of 3 games with only 2 points and Dak done is the end of our season in terms of pushing for playoffs. 2 points from Wigan, Birmingham and Huddersfield is a joke. Back to the drawing board for Tony. We desperately need our players healthy and a good transfer window. Meanwhile, Emma said, "Fucking shite from Rovers unless the lot of them are used." And meanwhile, Emma says, "Fucking shite from Rovers, useless, the lot of them." AKA, meanwhile, Emma said this: "Fucking shite from Rovers, useless, the lot of them." Meanwhile, the one and only Deuce said this: after starting so brightly, Rovers scored a deserved opener, then just checked out. 9 extra minutes. Could have been 90 more and we wouldn't have come close to scoring. We look so disjointed. Buckley is not the answer, just not the finished product yet, and Benno is not a right back. Meanwhile, the Bavarian Rovers were also very vocal after the final whistle. Certainly don't want to trash talk club Huddersfield fans. but this clearly was a belated Christmas present. If our team would have turned up, the result would have been much different. There needs to be a serious analysis into team selection and individual performances of players. This very much reminds me of October games. No balls, no turning up, sloppy losing balls, and don't get me started on Stevie Wotsa. Meanwhile, Abari Bell, obviously Rovers left back, did have a cameo 45 minutes second half performance. Disappointing performance today, not a great way to end the year. Another game in a few days, so let's keep pushing and make sure we put it right. That's easier said than done, Abari Bell. If you go and win this sucker, I get as far as I'll be absolutely elated and very surprised as well. Meanwhile, the talk of me would say this: rubbish. If I'm honest, the Hud's playing well, needed to up it massively. Thompson and Downing looked shaky to me. The subs are huge. Maybe that was a mid-game tweet. Meanwhile, Elliot Bennett also expressing his views after the match. Disappointed to end 2019 with a defeat and see our undefeated run come to an end. Got to try and start another one as soon as possible. See you in the new decade. Yes, brfcs.com says this: Rovers ending 2019 with a whimper here. Toothless, disorganised and shambolic. Rovers tweet also getting in on the action. Look lightweight, can't pass and unimaginative with the ball. How on earth did we go so long unbeaten? Either we were that good or we were that lucky and the other teams were that shit. Moving on to the games that also took place in the Championship this past day. Fulham did beat Stoke. West Brom lost to Middlesbrough, so they are slipping up a little bit when needs to be getting the points on the ball. Middlesbrough continue their recent rise up to 14th, is it now? 16th of the table. Millwall did beat Brentford again. High-flying Brentford take a stumble. Millwall getting closer to playoff action. Where are they? In 11th spot at the moment. Nottingham Forest did beat Wigan. We've got to keep an eye on those over the next few days. 9-goal Barnstorm without St Andrews as Birmingham lost to Leeds 5-4. Hull picking up an away win 2-1 over QPR. Obviously, Rovers lost. Sheffield Wednesday also lost to Cardiff City. Big result for them. Preston lost at home to Reading. Bristol City got back to winning ways. 3-0 win over Luton. And Swansea and Barnsley duked it out to a 0-0 draw. Tomorrow, or today, or whenever you see this video, Derby take on Charlton. Speaking of the top six, let's take a look at the next few games heading into this bad boy. Obviously, Millwall taking on Luton on New Year's Day. QPR taking on Cardiff. The 3 o'clock kickoff. Preston take on Borough, that's a tasty one. Forest up against Rovers, that's the game of the weekend right there. Birmingham against Wigan. Huddersfield against Stoke. Sheffield Wednesday up against Hull City. Bristol City taking on Brentford. Fulham up against Reading. West Brom up against Leeds United. And Derby will be taking on Barnsley. Swansea City will also entertain Charlton Athletic. So let's take a look at the table after those sets of matches. Leeds lead the way with 51 points. West Brom are also in second, also on 51 points. Goal difference separates those two sides. Fulham into third, Brentford now fourth. Forest up to fifth, got to keep an eye on those. Sheffield Wednesday down to sixth. Down at the bottom of the table, Wigan, Luton and Barnsley are going down if the season was to end today. Huddersfield up to 19th now, Rovers down to 13th. Still only a win away from the playoffs, but realistically, without Bradley Dack in our side, the chances of winning games and scoring goals are slowly disappearing.
That's pretty much all I've got for you folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that thumbs up. If you do, smash the subscribe. New videos every single day on the channel, so make sure you check that stuff out. Next up, it is Nottingham Forest as another away day. It does kick off the brand new calendar year 2020. That's right. Hopefully we can start with a win against them bad boys. But yeah, obviously it's a vow of quality now that Dacarino is out of the picture. So big question marks need to be raised by performances. Hopefully we can get back to winning ways with the brand new year. So until then, I'm going to just get out of it. Make sure you smash that thumbs up and smash the subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.